It has been a long time. It has been a very long time to get to this point. I want to commend Governor Jerry Brown for recognizing the health crisis that thousands of families have endured for far too long.
Today what we're announcing is a small victory on a long journey towards justice. $176 million to improve our communities. We're going to clean it up, we're going to provide local jobs, and we're going to ensure that this never happens again in working class communities, and particularly in districts like mine, the third poorest in the state of California.
Look, this fight is personal to me. It's personal because of the long-term relationships that we've built. It's personal because of our health care that we currently face in these communities. And it's personal because I live here. And I'm raising a kid. Most of you guys know when we did the big celebration here, because Exide had finally closed, it was my little kid who was running around who tripped and turned off the microphone. And then Father Moretta gave us the stink eye at the mass because he was. But these fights are personal. I've got family here. And we're not going to stop fighting until we ensure that it's clean, that our neighborhoods are clean, and we ensure that we take care of our community's health care. And at the end of the day, look, the state's going to kick in close to $180 million. But we're also going to ensure that we hold Exide accountable.
We're here to say that this is a down payment for what needs to get down financially. It's a down payment to the commitment we as legislators are giving to our community to make sure that the cleaning and testing gets done. And not just for Exide, but for all the other contamination we have in the Southeast and East LA area.
I take this personally too. I grew up in the Southeast. I've been breathing this air all my life. And I worry not just about the health of myself, my family, but all my neighbors in my backyard. And it's exciting to finally be able to come home and say we are doing something now. It's not going to take 30 more years.
But for me, it just got to the point where it was too frustrated. And I couldn't come home every week and keep telling my constituents to keep waiting. I was telling myself to keep waiting when I've been breathing this air for 30 years, also 38 years. And so I was very frustrated. And I do think sometimes we have to break with norm and let people know we're angry, we're frustrated, and we feel like second-class citizens. And the message given what we see with responses in places like Porter Ranch is that we don't matter. And so today is about saying we matter and that we're going to continue to matter. And I'm going to continue to do my part to make sure that we matter and we're not forgotten. And sometimes we need to be angry to be heard.
To assure that something like Exide doesn't occur again, where the justice is delayed for 30 years, I have introduced Assembly Bill 1787 that will put communities like Boyle Heights, East LA, onto a priority list for cleanup and action. This will ensure that if anything that occurs, that the state will come together and move quickly to address that issue.
One thing that is unfortunate, and we got to acknowledge it, is that the Porter Ranch gas leak shined a light on the fact that we have two Californias. One that is treated with the utmost respect and expediency, and one that is often neglected. So we have to fight to make sure that we don't neglect the areas that can least at sometimes defend themselves.
This is an issue that's been around for 30 years, and it was the community that has been here day in and day out fighting for the issues. I always say that the elected officials come and go, but the community remains. But it was once the elected officials started to speak up with one voice, that's when you see movement. That's when we saw some movement on this issue. And once we did that, we knew that we were going to be able to get the resources we needed to address this problem. So it's a great success to show that when the local government, county government, city government, and federal government work together, that we can accomplish great things.
You know, it's important. What Assemblyman Gomez just said, I think, is absolutely true. We who have been elected have an opportunity to fight for the people, but it's all the folks that aren't wearing the formal attire. The folks back here and the folks that are here that deserve so much of the credit. I can remember 30 years ago, it was some of the same people who were here who fought against the prison in East Los Angeles. It wasn't that long ago. And then after that, we had a fight against the construction of a waste incineration plant in this neighborhood as well. And folks had to rise up again. And so this is not new, but it is great. And here I think it's important to thank our state leaders, the senators, the assembly members. All of us have a role. I was working with EPA to try to get the state to move. But you got to give credit to the state legislators, our legislators, because they're the ones that had to make it happen with DTSC. They're the ones that had to make it happen with the governor. And but for our leaders at the state level, it would not happen.
This is a watershed moment for all those who have fought valiantly for so many years. All these meetings in this hall every other week with our local officials, with our state officials, with federal officials, community-based organizations, young men and women, parents, old, young, and in the middle, everyone collectively coming together. This is a watershed moment for all of those who have fought tirelessly to close down Exide.